some of these demands, because yes, they are right to demand for some of these send-off packages, given they have been in office for 10 years, and also just moving on to different stages of their lives. Some of these things would be good for them, and given it is us, the taxpayers, that will be paying for them through our taxes, they need to understand that these figures that they're giving are not reasonable, much as they may have been gotten used to a certain lifestyle while in office, some for 10 years, most of them for 10 years, because those that are not retiring are going for re-election. But for the 21 governors that are set to retire after the constitutional 2 terms and hoping to get this particular package, I personally think it's unreasonable. They need to go back to the drawing table and come up with reasonable terms that are sustainable. It's not supposed to be a minting exercise where you're going to squeeze as much as you can from the taxpayer.
Let me quote something. Let me read something here. Now, a witness in a murder case recounted before an electorate court how his friend was clobbered to death by a woman after he reportedly failed to pay 20 shillings for a plate of githeri he had eaten. And we're here talking about how much? So
2.3 billion.
So someone is dead over 20 shillings.
Just like the other day,
governors
someone
are demanding 2.3. Is this zero ngapi?
It's just like the other day in some part in Western country, the specific county eludes my mind, whereby a sister killed a brother over what? Mattress. So it shows you the kind of issues that Kenyans are dealing with.
Yeah.
Goes back to the roots, and this is what you're talking about, 2.1 billions and millions.
But then I think if we look at our constitution and how we have behaved before, we've had even serving presidents getting a send-off package.
Yes.
You know, and well, this move by the governors, those who are retiring, the 21 of them, maybe, you know, there's a provision for such within, you know, their service and such, would want them to be less selfish. Because at the end of the day, you opted to be elected. You actually went on the campaign trail as we are right now, asked the electorate to vote you in so that you can deliver on your promises. And we all know if we were to do an audit in regard to a majority of them might actually have missed out on delivering their manifestos. So if it's about, did you deliver? Was there a contract? Is it a breach of contract, gratuity, and such? I think we need to stop. We need to just wake up and smell the fresh air. And I always ask myself, whenever we read of stories about, you know, where either senators, members of parliament are seen cycling in first world countries to just lower the cost when it comes to their electorate, or rather just their lifestyle. And I have an example or a picture of what happens on our roads where you have woken up, you're in traffic, but someone woke up a little bit late, but hey, you guys are told to, you know, give way.
Scoot to the side kidogo.
Brings a question to, are we embracing servant leadership? Remember, as we are asking this question, are those who are vying for these elective seats ahead of the August polls that are just about 20 days away, do they meet the servant leadership criteria?
Chapter 6.
And that puts a cap on matters in the headlines this morning, but we are not done and dusted right here on Good Morning Kenya, so do keep it right here.
as campaign intensifies for the upcoming general election, what does all this mean for you, the voter? What do the candidates have to offer? How prepared are agencies charged with the election process? Join John Kuria and Safina Chieng on Kenya Decides. This and every Tuesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 as we unpack elections 2022 with a panel of various stakeholders. Make informed electoral decisions.
We shall legalize weed.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party. Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party.
Unajua mimi sina pesa ya serikali ama ya cashback.
David Mwaure Wahiga of the Agano Party. And
hakuna kura ya hasla mtaiba.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Presidential Debate 2022. Do not adjust your sets.
Long before joining active politics, Maina Wanjigi, born in 1931, came to the public limelight when soon after independence, founding President Jomo Kenyatta appointed him Director of Settlement to oversee the implementation of the 1 million acre settlement scheme meant to create homes for more than 1 million Kenyans whose land had been grabbed by the colonialists. Wanjigi joined active politics when contest in the November 1969 Kamukunji constituency by-election occasioned by the assassination of Tom Mboya, the eloquent right-wing Minister for Planning. The former MP takes credit for initiating and developing the expansive open-air Gikomba market in his constituency. Another project that he took pride in was helping to establish the Juekali informal business sector in Shauri Moyo. In a speech he delivered in Parliament in June 1973, Wanjigi advocated for free primary school education for all, something the country would realize 30 years later. In 1970, founding President Jomo Kenyatta appointed Wanjigi Assistant Minister in the Ministry of Agriculture headed by Bruce Mackenzie. In 1976, Wanjigi was among politicians opposed to the change the constitution debate meant to bar the then Vice President Daniel Moi from being the automatic President Kenyatta's successor. In the 1979 general election, the first under President Moi, Wanjigi lost his seat to Nicholas Gore, who was the former chairman of the Luo Union in Nairobi. In December 1979, President Moi appointed Wanjigi chairman of Kenya Airways. When President Moi restructured his cabinet following a snap election in 1983 in an effort to solidify his authority in view of the 1982 attempted coup, he appointed Wanjigi to the cabinet as Minister for Tourism and Wildlife. Wanjigi had recaptured his Kamukunji parliamentary seat in the snap elections. It was during his time in the ministry that the dream to have Kenya receive 1 million tourists by 1988 was unveiled. This would, however, however, not happen until 2010, 22 years after Wanjigi's projected date. Wanjigi was moved to the Ministry of Public Works and Housing. In another cabinet reshuffle, Moi moved Wanjigi to the Ministry of Cooperative Development. Working closely with Permanent Secretary Andrew Ligale and Commissioner for Cooperatives Erastus Morethi, he led the ministry in establishing savings and credit cooperative societies across the sector and countrywide. It was during his tenure that Cooperative Bank was launched. Wanjigi was then transferred to the Ministry of Agriculture, where he had cut his teeth as a young professional in the 1960s. In 1990, he was expelled from the ruling party KANU during the clamor for multi-party politics in 1990. Then presumed an enemy of the President Moi regime, Wanjigi was arrested, interrogated and held at the Langata police station for 3 days before being taken to court. No charges were preferred against him. When Section 2A of the Constitution was repealed, Wanjigi entered an unfamiliar arena of opposition politics and joined Kenneth Matiba's Ford Asili faction of the original Forum for the Restoration of Democracy Ford Party. He and others in the opposition tried to bring together Matiba and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga's Ford factions in order to defeat KANU in the 1992 general election. When these failed, he and others took over the Kenya National Congress KNC party in the hope that it would hold the middle ground that ostensibly sensible politicians from both factions would turn to and eventually turn the tables on KANU. But the politicians from both sides of the Ford divide stood their ground and KNC was thrown out of the political contest. Wanjigi vied for the Kamakunji seat on a KNC party ticket and lost coming fourth. The seat was won by Ford Asili's George Nthenge. In 1997, Wanjigi moved to his home base of Mathura constituency in Nyeri district to vie on a Ford Asili ticket. The incumbent was KANU Secretary General Joseph Kamotho. Both were badly defeated by the hitherto unknown Ford People candidate Francis Githiari. Wanjigi bowed out of politics and focused on his business empire under the umbrella of Kwacha Group of Companies. He was also the chairman of the SOS Children's Home Program in Kenya for 25 years. Reporting for the Cabinet, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Located in the Ekatano area of Kiambu County is the Gadites Farm, one of the pig-rearing farms owned by 28-year-old Kefa Githogo. Here we meet the entrepreneur, and after changing into the farm gear, it's time to go check out what goes on here. Inside, it's feeding time. From the ones that are ready to hit the market, placed in this visitor's shed to the newly born piglets, this shed plays host to over 300 pigs. Kefa didn't however start here. He ventured into pig rearing in 2011 in his father's Kiamba farm with 6 pigs. 4 of them died.
2 of them remained, but at least I was able to lead them all the way to maturity, and then all the way to the maturity, and then I was able to sell them when they were pregnant. So I fetched a better price. And actually the first time I got my 50K, I remember, at one go.
Githogo, who is a graduate of Business and Information Technology from the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, says his resilience in the business, boosted by $500,000 shilling loan courtesy of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, has seen his business grow to what it is today. Kefa now owns this farm and another one which does farrowing for the pigs. Located in Kiamba is his commercial feed shop, where he gets the feeds for his farm as well as selling the same to other clients. Business is booming, and the entrepreneur has been able to employ other people to assist with the running of the business.
So we have 2 butcheries. We have 4 people we have employed. And the business also that liquidates you in case of any, in case of any trouble that you have or any emergency that you have, you can always liquidate an animal. So these are more of my bank, I would say, and they pay me if I take care of them.
Mimi sana wanapenda kwenda driving school, so nimetamani pale Toyota ndio nijifunze driving, yeah. So nisimami pia kimaisha mimi na yangu. Tamani funga job kama hii, pia naandikia hata pia watu pia na utusaidiane, iwaajiri watu kazi na inaweza kuwa smart.
The venture has seen him grow to being fully dependent on it for his livelihood.
So one thing that I've done, I would say tangible thing that I've done with this business that I always see every day, is definitely the love of my life. Everything was funded by this business. I was also been able to buy a property. I have a car, I would say. I literally survive on this business. So definitely everything that you see in me, it's about this business.
Kifa points out the high cost of animal feed is a major hindrance to the success of the business.
It's a capital-intensive project. We talk of at least the earliest you can cash in is about 2.5 months, and literally that animal is only eating every day. So it's quite. If you have 100 animals and they are doing like 80 shillings a day, that's money that you have to have prepared in advance, or you have various ways of how to liquidate yourself. Second is about the diseases. We have the swine fever, the African swine fever, the foot and mouth also does affect the animals, and those leads to huge losses.
What is his vision for the Gadates farm, I ask him.
A lot of commitment definitely is needed, and a lot of lessons have been learned through the journey. But I think the way I see the business is you grow in valuation. You grow more in valuation because these animals also, they multiply every day. Though they feed, there's that cost of feeding. At least if you do enough sales that facilitate the cost of the day, you're good in this business.
For the young, passionate entrepreneur, his growth means the growth of others, and he lives to learn and give the business his all.
Gadet Fund has been able to employ 12 pairs of hands to help with the running of the business, but the young entrepreneur is not quite done yet. He hopes to secure a second loan from the Youth Enterprise Fund to help with expansion of the business and create more employment for the youth. Yusufar reporting for Young in Industries from the Ekatano area in Kiambu County.
Exactly 15 minutes past the top of the hour. Time for us to get on our first conversation this Tuesday morning. Matters entrepreneurship taking center stage. My guests are already here to my immediate right. That is Prophet Joshua Kioko, who is a pastor, quite a number of businesses under his name, and that's why it forms the center of our conversation, Matter Entrepreneurship. Right next to him is Simon Masharia, who is a psychologist, largely deals with matters to do with mental health, also an entrepreneur with a daycare, as well as matters to do with music under his name. Karibu sana to the program, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Let me start with you, Prophet Pastor Joshua, whichever one best suits you. You are a pastor.
That's true.
And I mean, there's quite a lot that, comes to people's mind when you just talk about pastor. They only think that your work and your job is only on Sundays, teaching the word, and just that's about that. But you have a number of businesses, and you're just about to launch a new one after this program. Talk to me about that.
Being a pastor is not all about preaching. It's not all about being in church. It's not all about staying in church. You can also have a wide mind, whereby you can also make a step. Because many people think like being a pastor, you are also a beggar always begging for offering.
And eating from your flock.
You see? But it's not all about that.
Yeah.
Because the Bible says God judges the motive. Why are you a pastor? Okay? What are you doing as a pastor? So if your mind is like, I'm waiting for the service, for me to get an offering, then from there, that is my life. Then God will reject you because you are not doing the will of God. You are doing your will, which is getting something from the frogs. So if God gives you opportunity, you have to use the opportunity to become something. Because God had given me opportunity to be a pastor.
Yeah.
So being a pastor is what God loves about me. That is about God. Then there is about Pastor Joshua and his family. So from God's call to what I am today. So what do I mean? Apart from being a pastor, I have a hotel. And apart from having an hotel, I am a farmer also. I do different things, which I don't want to mention every one of them.
But you have to mention it to us, at least to remove the myth and misconceptions surrounding, and also just for the young people watching out there who would want to get into business and they do not know how to diversify. You know, right now we say that you cannot have one stream of income. You need to try and diversify as much as you can, which is what we are seeing you do.
Yeah, that's true. So, so as I've said, I have an hotel whereby my vlogs and also people from outside, they can eat, they can enjoy themselves. And also from there, I farm different things. That is about me now, what I have. What comes from church is not mine. You see? Because offering is not for pastors. Offering is for God. So what comes from the church goes back to the church. I want you to understand something.
Okay.
You see? It is God's money. You understand me?
Yes.
So what is mine is my business. So I have time for God and I have time for my own businesses. You understand? I have time for God and I have time for my own businesses and my own life. So it is possible. You can serve God while doing your own business for God to bless you. But do not rely on being a pastor only.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're saying money is for God, but one would say God does not physically exist here. We'll come to that momentarily, but let me come to you, Simon Macharia. You are a psychologist, a mental health advocate. You have a daycare business, and this is also largely what you deal with within your scope and your space. Yes. And we've seen a lot of conversations surrounding matters to do with mental health, but we'll come to that again in a short while. But talk to us also about your business in terms of beginning that daycare. How was it? How was the process like? And what kind of business is this? Is it lucrative?
Thank you, Doreen. Those are about 3-4 questions, and I'll try to
answer all of them.
One, a daycare business is a very lucrative job as we speak today. In fact, the county government and the central government has started taxing people who are doing business. So as a young man, I decided I will look for a county that has not yet established bylaws to govern the daycare. So that's why I settled in Kirinyaga. It's the only county whereby you can start that business without any payment. So I started it without capital, because when you look for a problem and solve it, then money becomes the reward of what you're doing. And as a psychologist, I am able to assess. When I'm changing the kid, I will see that this boy has undecided testes. So that is a long-term problem that needs to be sorted before he is 8 years. So we have doctors and surgeons who are ready to do an occipiodex operation for this young kid, and they do it for free because we link them up with churches that can help and people who are well-wishers who do that. So I am able to arrest any issue stemming from a young kid very young. So once I nurse those babies, I'm able to see whether they have a problem with their eyes, if they have a fine or gross motor problem. I'm able to sit down with the parents who are very busy and tell them, wait, hold on, slow down, let's see, what have you noticed about this kid? And from there, we are able to do interventions as a psychologist. And this helps me to make money, good money, so that whenever I go out, I'm able to bring programs here and create awareness and be able to visit parents who need me wherever they are in Kenya. And I love what I'm doing. And I thank you for the invite here. Yes.
You've said in terms of also business, that aspect of looking for a problem and see how to solve it, that is also what brings money. In your perspective, do you think that this is largely what young people lack? Because right now we are seeing a lot of, I want to get into the 8 to 5 job. I went to school, I have my degree, I probably even have my master's, but we just want to be in a closed environment. Is this what we are lacking?
Actually, I'll tell you something for free. What we are lacking is that we have all come from a society that believes you must go to the secondary school, the college, and after that, you get a good job, get married, get a firstborn son, get a daughter, and
that's life.
That's life, and get a small car, and you're okay. But now, life has come in a very fast changing world. And we find out that today I have a degree and then he has a PhD. So I become irrelevant as far as our world is concerned. So what we need to do is move out from whatever everybody is holding and look for what can work for you. For example, I went to study in Dubai. Then when I came back, I had to start from zero, from a daycare. And everybody was wondering, what am I doing changing diapers? It looks very stupid. It looks very ordinary. It doesn't look very attractive. But now, when I started alleviating the issues of a day-to-day nursing mother, working mother, and she is busy somewhere, and I take care of the kid, I would charge them 50 shillings. But some would be so happy with what they find that they would pay more than I would expect them to. Because I have given them a landing platform. This is what we need to tell a young man. As much as we are chasing papers and degrees, we really need to see what else we can offer as a means of relieving pressure that is building in everybody. And from there, then, we are able to make money. Money is a reward of solving people's problems. But the moment you look for money itself, without having to relieve someone's issues or problems, then you will have to swindle, you have to con, you have to be a rule breaker to get the same medium.
Money,
Exactly.
So it means identify that gap, look for where a problem exists, then try to look for solution. Money will follow.
Don't try.
Look for the solution. Don't try.
Don't try.
Usibambanye, tafuta.
Don't try. Just for example, you are working, Doreen. I don't know whether you have a kid or not. Whenever you're here, your concentration should be here completely. And then you have someone who is taking care of your kid. And you need someone you can trust. Basically, that is what they do. But now when you get a house girl, I'm sorry to say, she has issues, contentious issues. They fought with the boyfriend on the only day you gave her to go for an off. So she's already bitter with what happened over the weekend. So when she comes, she realizes, this kid has not given me freedom to go and be with him. That's why he's angry with me. You called me in the middle of our outing to come and nurse your kid. So she will come with that bitterness and it will be projected to your baby. And that's why we are having issues. And most of the people now are preferring my daycare with the house help. We are calling them house managers. But now, unless you get one trained enough to handle your kid, it is a problem. And I had to come in and find out, how do I sort these working class mothers? They don't want to lose their job, they don't want to lose their kids. So I had to look for that. And now that has become a lucrative business. It didn't just start from top. It had to start with people trusting what I'm doing. And the process is what we are not ready to do.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well said. Pasi, talk to me about the hotel business. I mean, this is not one of those ventures that are easy to start. Look at the capital. This is some of those businesses whereby it's capital intensive. So you need quite a good amount of money to start this business. And you've said that you are a pastor, a prophet, and you do not eat into, you know, you said offering is for God.
Yeah.
But then, how are you able to raise capital just to start this kind of business? How was it like?
Okay. What I can say is from, let me take you back a little bit. When I started my ministry door to door, going to people's houses.
At this point, there's no church that exists?
There is no church. Okay, at the point one, I knew I had a calling, but I was not that sure. Because I could look at myself, I was very young. No money, no shoes, no clothes, nothing. You are just zero. So I could doubt. Because if I could come to your house, I'm telling you about this big God, miracle working God, you could first look at me.
I can't see any miracle in you.
You don't see that God in me first.
Even the miracle.
Yeah, nothing.
So
it was a little bit challenging. But I was very jovial. I was very funny. If I could find you at your house cleaning, I could help you. But in a way, you could be like, what is, like, hata nikikukuta ukikata mahindi, nitakusaidia. Then in a way, I will come in. So you'll be like, I like this man. So that's how I started. Then I had a character. If I pray for you, if we talk about God, if I could preach for you, then uniambie, let me bless you. I want to give you my offer. I could say, no, thank you very much. I was just giving you good news. Then you could be like, this pastor is not even taking anything from me. And God has blessed me with a gift of healing. That I have it. So, yeyote ningemkuta akiwa mgonjwa, alikuwa hapo, then I'm not collecting anything from that person. So, huyo mtu alikuwa anapata moyo wa kunifuata na kutaka kunijua. So, because I was not sure to be a pastor, so si kufungua church, I opened an office. So, I could pray for you and tell you, please continue going to your church. On Tuesday, kuja nitakuwa hapo kwa office, let's pray together, go back. Until one day I said nilikuwa na watu wamekaa kwa laini hapo, you want to see me. So nikawaambia, please, now it is over, Sunday mwende kanisa zenu, me I will be in my office with my wife praying here. So hatutaenda anywhere. So sikujua kumbe wamesikia hiyo. So the first Sunday, thinking ni mimi na my wife, we are there to pray, they came. So I had 8 people. Hatukuwa na viti. So we were what should we do? Imagine we have tukona washirika.
So they came kwa hiari yao.
Yeah. So we were like, kwani tumeanza church? Is this a church? We were like, where should we get seats? So tukaanza kutafuta two forms, like now we began it there. So they were very blessed. Then next Sunday tukakuwa watu 18, next Sunday 24, 60, hivyo ikaenda hivyo. Then wakati nilifikisha 60, whatever nilikuwa napata, I could just take 10%. Tuseme nimepata for example tuseme 6,000.
And this is from offering?
This is offering.
So now we are agreeing that offering is not for God?
No, I'm coming there.
Okay.
I'm coming there. This is, tuseme for example, is 6,000. 10%.
600.
This is 600.
Yeah.
Kumebaki 54.
Yeah, 54.
54. Trust me or not, I could look for anyone who is suffering in the church. I'm talking about before God. And I could help that person with full of the money. Ningempia everything. The 54.
So you remained with 600?
No. 10% is not mine. I have my own bishop.
Or you've removed the 10% as it was, it needs to.
The 6,000.
Yes.
600.
The balance, I could give it to
the needy member.
To the needy member. And then I could go home with my wife without anything.
Is that true? Practical?
That is it. Actually, by the time I'm doing that, hata shati nimevaa yenyewe imechoma na pass hata kuwa najua siwezi fungua koti, I have to, I'm there.
Stay put.
Then people could ask, why can't you even buy shoes? Why can't you do something? So from this, people started blessing me, apart from offering. So after I do all this, mtu angenitafuta, Pastor, where are you? Kuna kitu nimetumana ileteo. I could see shoes, I could suit, how much is your rent? So people, watu wakachukua mzigo wangu. Wakachukua mzigo. So from this side is where God began to trust me with money, with the resources. So about the hotel, what happened? It is what God blessed me with. Side hustle is what God blessed me with. God sent me people to bless me apart from church offering.
So let me get this, because I really want us to be as open, and also just like I said, we want to make the young people to understand in terms of whoever might want to begin a business, penye wako unaanzia penye uko, as you're saying. So you're saying that aside from people just blessing you with the material things like the shoes, the way they would bring you shati imechomeka, they would give you, some would also give you money?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, good money, more than offering. And even today, I don't depend on offering. Because I came to realize offering from the church is the 10%. If you give it to God, God gives you 9%.
So now this money is now what you use to now start the business?
The blessings from outside the church, it was my capital to my businesses.
Now you've answered the capital question.
Yeah.
All right, so this is how you got capital to start this, you know, the businesses that you have, the hotel being one of them.
Yes.
You know, why I ask that is because we keep saying oftentimes, particularly as young people, that nitaanzia wapi, you know, and just listening to you is that start from where you are.
Yeah.
Start with what you have.
What you have. From 0 point, you can make it from there.
It's interesting to see how Simon is really agreeing.
I'm agreeing because I did some mathematics. I looked at him working in the church, and the first hotel is actually right in the church.
Just hold that thought there.
Yes.
Just hold that thought there. I want us to take a very quick breather. When we return back, we continue exploring this conversation with my guest, just to see how you can begin from and how to start as a young entrepreneur. Time for that breather. Stay with us.
Thank you.
Generation inakuja ni sisi tunalidi nchi.
Justina Wangui wa Mae, Root Party of Kenya.
Ukiitwa deputy itika.
Martha Wangari Karua, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party.
Tungetaka tuseme Wakenya wameamua.
Rigathi Gachagua, UDA.
We are coming to bring in change.
Ruth Wambui Musheru, Agano Party. Battle of the Deputies. The Deputy Presidential Debate live on the 19th July 2022. 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Beatrice Chepkoech, the fastest woman in the world, becomes the world champion here in Doha.
The World Athletics Championships is being hosted in Oregon, in the United States of America, for the first time ever from 15th to 24th of July 2022. An estimated 2,000 base track and field athletes representing more than 200 nations will come together in a celebration of diversity, human potential, and athletic achievement. Short races are not the only attractions. Marathon, magnificent throws.
Is it going to be long enough? Oh, it's a huge throw.
And outstanding jumps among other disciplines is expected as well. Although an immense task awaits them, our own Team Kenya is adequately represented by resolute athletes ready to liven up Hayward Field at the University of Oregon.
What a race, what heart. Oh my goodness me, so close.
Don't miss a single glorious moment, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
We shall legalize weed.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party. Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party.
Unajua mimi sina pesa ya serikali ama ya kashfa.
David Mwaure Wahiga of the Agano Party. And
hakuna kura ya hasla mutaiba.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Presidential Debate 2022. Do not adjust your sets.
Welcome back. Still holding court with my guest this Tuesday morning. That is Prophet Joshua Kioko, as well as Simon Mashari, of course, talking to us about matters entrepreneurship and how to begin from where you are. Simon, let me just pick it up with you from where we left. And you're really agreeing with what Pasti was saying here in terms of just start from where you are. And you had figures for us.
Yes, I watched him. He won't tell you about the figures. And I don't know whether he knows whether he even did this. I watched him. Just outside the church, there is a tent, because it's not every day that people come. But on a Sunday, let's even take one packet of chapati. It's about 300 shillings, plus maybe 100 for the charcoal and 100 for the worker. Then he makes 20 chapatis and sells them at 30 shillings. That's 600 shillings. Then, with over 1,000 or 800 members.
Allow me to butt in.
Yes, please.
Just to get context of what you're saying.
Yes.
This is from his hotel, now selling to...
The makeshift that is outside. I'm not talking about the one that is outside. No, I'm talking about the, on Sunday, the makeshift. That's a small tent and a juco. From 4:30. Someone comes and prepares. So I was giving a breakdown to show you how money comes. The members come from around 5:30 to around 9. That is the first group of workers and stewards. So the moment they come very early, they don't prepare breakfast at home. So they will need a relief. So he realized these people, when they come and they don't have to go back home, they will need a cup of tea. So I'm not talking about the tea. I want first to take you through the chapati. So he has people who will come and make maybe 20 chapatis at 30 shillings. That's around 600 shillings. Then make about 10 packets. That's 6,000 in a single day. Untaxed money.
And that's between the 5:30?
Yes,
to 9.
And to 9. By evening, he will have made more than 10,000 on chapatis alone. Now, let's come back to the tea. You just need a few liters of milk at 120, and then a few cups of, a few kilos of sugar. Make 1,000 cups of tea, or even 500. Multiply that by 20. That's how people make money.
So think outside the box.
Think outside the box. Now, these are people who are sorting their problems within the proximity of the church without leaving. So it's cheap outside there, and they are concentrating in the church. So they're not going anywhere. Now, hold that thought. So when I realized people are making money out of nothing, so I decided I'll work with the kids. So after working with the daycare, I realized, why don't I extend it to a 24/7, whereby anybody, even passerby, a walk-in can come in and leave their kids, and then come and get them.
So you draw your inspiration from...
Well, I wouldn't say that, because I just showed you how he is doing it on a very different platform, and I'm doing it on a very diverse way, and somebody else is doing his mathematics in a different way. Like, I have a friend who has a weighing scale. He charges 10 shillings, makes about 200 shillings every day. Then he is there during the day, and by evening, he has paid his rent, and he doesn't need anything. He just stands with a weighing scale, and he has what we call BMI. Once you do your weight, he will tell you, wait, I want to calculate your body mass index, which is very important for our readers, especially when they are having their family planning solutions. You need to know their body mass index because of their weight and their intake. So you realize that we can move from nothing by accepting that the world will not give us these perks that we are imagining. The lucky people are getting it. But for us who are not there, we need now to stop fighting the force and run with our sail. Make money, small money, then have an investment or have a plan of saving your money. Money is a spirit. When I send 1,000 on your M-Pesa, I don't really send money. What comes to you? What is it? It's a spirit of money. So you need to get and capture the spirit of money for it to work for you. If I give you 1,000 and by evening you have taken jugu, you have taken samosa, you have taken... What else have you taken? Chips. You've taken a soda, you have taken porridge. The money will run away from you. But if today you have 1,000, you have 500 shillings, and tomorrow you keep the same, it will even invite money and tell them, hey man, here, Doreen does not really bother us, we are safe.
So we can stay here.
We can stay here, please come. And they will come.
This is our home.
This is our home.
Okay, then this goes back to your earlier point of looking where the problem is and finding solutions.
Yes.
Not try to, but make sure you find those solutions.
Yes.
Before we come to the savings bit, just to make progress on this conversation on entrepreneurship, let's talk about passion in it, because looking at your daycare business, looking at what Percy is doing with the hotel business, and again, like I said, we'll come to the digital media, but then where is the place of passion? Because like we said earlier, someone might have studied something different, let's say studied X, and then looks like there's no job opportunities there, but then you're saying be looking for the problem.
Right.
So then, if I'm not so passionate about that particular thing, how then do I go into it? Because we've seen also people getting into businesses, not because they're so much passionate about it, but because it brings in more money.
Right.
It's about the money factor and all the passion bit of it. How do you draw the line?
Thank you, Doreen. Most of the people who went to do, like, let's assume they did journalism.
Yeah.
Some of them are not working on that. They are doing better in real estate. As we speak in the world, the cosmos has a way of settling balance. For example, you may not have made it in school because of maybe fear or anything, but then you realize there is an inbuilt wired prowess that resides with you, and you realize this is what I do best. For example, let's take a good photographer. He goes out with his camera, he catches some funny images, he works with them, then all of a sudden he's invited on a gallery and he sells a lot of money. You see, the passion is propelled by the returns.
Okay.
Even if he is talking about God blessing you and getting money,
yes,
he wouldn't be there if he continued with the torn shirt. If people never came in, they only came in to support his passion. Because by 4, these guys are out of the house and in the church. And he will leave when everybody else has left. So that passion is what people support. If you're a good host like you're doing, and this is good work,
thank you.
We will support you. We will always watch because we realize you're bringing in something new. So there's something I can say. Find your passion. And it doesn't have to be what other people want. Find your own passion. Then sit down and learn more so that you don't become irrelevant in your field. For example, most of the drivers in Kenya have the big driving license.
Yeah.
Today it's being phased out slowly by the government, and we are having the digital license. It's very difficult to convince that old man in the field that there is a smaller driving license. So within no time, his practice and his business will be cut down because he has not complied with what the government wants. So if you're a pastor, you need to go and learn skills about pastoring. If I am a psychologist, I have to go back to school after every maybe 6 months or 1 year, because what was working for us like 3 years ago, for example, we had what we call the open surgery.
Yeah.
Right now, it's not being done as it was used to. We have a laparoscopic operation. So if I don't go back to school and align my passion with the current world, which is digitally very fast, then you realize your value race. You've become, there's something that you don't breed with because the world is very fast.
You've become irrelevant.
You become irrelevant. You always now talk about, I used to, but today you can't even feed yourself. You have to let people come in and help you because you can't pay the house. And this is because you sat down on a comfort zone and said, okay, I'm all right, I'm doing well. Then something happens. And then you become irrelevant and you can't even support yourself, leave alone a family. And now that's where now the mental issues, the contentious issues come in. And you realize people are going to greater heights to make sure they have what it takes to have today and also to secure their life tomorrow and the next day. Yes.
So I mean, it's a cycle.
It's a cycle, and you need to know where to start and to break the cycle.
Okay.
By doing one, what is this you do so well? he realized he has a passion as a pastor. He would even give out whatever came in. So I don't know whether it was supposed to be like that or it was like a way to rule people to come in. I don't know. He will
tell us.
He can tell us that. Because we are in very different mind of school, but we are merging somewhere. He has a passion in that, I have a passion, and then we have a middle and where we are meeting in. So find as a young man, find your passion, and then make sure it is relevant in our day-to-day. For example, my business of daycare, every single day, we have kids coming in.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not.
Children will be born.
It's raining and people don't want to carry their kids. So, and I have a nice cozy place. So how much is it? They would realize it's better to keep them here. And that's it. And that's it.
Is this something you had passion for?
Yes.
So it's something you equally loved and you would have wanted to have such a space?
It stemmed from a very painful breakup. Very painful breakup. So I realized the pain I was feeling should not now be shared by anyone else. So I decided first, I'll be a father to the absent fathers. That is how it is stemmed. Yeah. So sometimes you may find your footing not on what you did in school.
Yeah.
But from something stemming from a painful experience, painful breakup, and then you realize now I have to be strong for myself, and then your strength now becomes your passion, and now people come to pay and respect your passion, and you make it in life.
So again, also what I'm reading from is that it needs a lot of individual self-assessment to also know exactly who you are as a person. This will also help for whether it's through experiences, whether it's just something that you just like, or you just saw in your environment that, this could be a good business venture.
For example, Pastor, if you look at Doreen, she has a ring. She doesn't make the ring. She bought it from somewhere. So I can decide today, I'll be making sure everybody who is a host will be buying my rings by bringing the best. That's business. When I look at you, you have specs. Right now, I think I can do a rim race. I can think outside the box, and I'll bring it tomorrow, and you will buy because you want to upgrade. Then I can see you have done something on your hair. I can see you don't have an earring. By assessing you, I can make business out of you in the next few minutes. And this is what we need.
All right, so let me come to you, Percy, and just listening to what Simon is saying is that find your passions.
Yes.
Look, and also in where you are, whatever field, whatever capacity, be reading, learning more. Don't think that you're the best that they ever existed.
Exactly.
You know? Be reading and learning more so that you can continue to be relevant. I mean, just looking at your story and also in respect to the hotel business and the different other businesses, is this something you ever wanted to do? Or is it, as Simon would say, was it a point of necessity, whereby you would give back to the church members in a form to lure them, and then now when things looked good on your side, you're like, okay, now we have money. Let's now start a hotel business.
Okay, on that point, you can't try that. You can't give to win somebody. Because hakuna pastor kuna watu wake.
Watu ni wa Mungu.
Watu ni wa Mungu. You can today decide to come in my church or tomorrow go to another church. I cannot phone you. Like, who told you not to come? No. Because if I will give you with the mentality of you are coming back tomorrow, I'm wrong. Because I'm not sure that you'll come. So I will be risking.
Gambling.
You understand?
Yes.
So instead of I giving you, I better keep it for myself because I'm not sure with you tomorrow.
In case you don't come, I'm good. I'm still good.
Yeah. So what am I trying to tell you? Okay, this is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
I don't give people. I give God. Because God will always be with me. You understand? So if I give you...
Let me get it. So like when you're giving them, it's you...
My medality.
It's for God.
It is, I'm giving God.
It's not them.
Because the Bible says, he who gives to the poor
lends to God.
Lends to God.
So, I'm renting God. So, what is your problem? Sina rent. God, nakudai rent ya 3,000. So, I give charity to God, not people. So, you might not come again, but I know my God will pay me. You understand? Wakati unaenda bank unachukua loan, watu wa bank washindangi ukibizana na wewe, toka kwa hoteli kuja twende. No, walikupea hata uende na Akuru, uende wapi, wako bank, but you will pay. You understand?
That is the concept. That is the idea.
I'm telling you, you will pay the bank.
I don't know whether I would venture into business with God.
That is it.
This takes a lot of faith.
I'm telling you,
say?
if you serve God, don't serve God as foolish. Be in business with God.
But isn't that, quote unquote, wanting to sound as foolish, so to speak?
Sorry?
Isn't that, quote unquote, wanting to sound as foolish? I mean, looking at the example that you've also given with the banks, Roger bank, ukisema hata ukiwapatia, they are just stay put, but they know where they can catch you if you decide.
Right.
You know,
even us, we know where we can catch God. We know.
So he does.
So it's
business
not
with
you
God.
who knows where you can catch the people. It's you who knows where you can catch God.
God.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
If you touch a heart of a man, you touch the heart of God. Trust me.
The digital media.
Okay, the digital media. Okay, that is.
It's also one of the businesses.
Yeah. But it is more of Injili. It is more about God, not more about business. Also, it will be a business because if you ukileta and go and advertise anything in our TV, you have to pay. You understand?
That is really thinking business-wise.
Yeah, that
makes
is now
a lot of
business-wise.
sense. All right.
Yeah, if pastor comes to preach there, you cannot just come and preach just that. Tunatumia stima, we have camera, we have a lot of things. Tuko na wafanyikazi, so it must resort business-wise.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. And you see, this convo keeps revolving around what Simon said when he started. Look at the gap and solve it.
Right.
As we wind down in just under 1 minute for both of you, and I'll start with you, Simon.
Yes.
What's it that you will tell young people, for those looking to venture into businesses, whether they already are in an existing job, just as how Pasi is, and they're looking to try out something new, diversify? What message do you have for them?
The best thing I can tell is start doing something. Like, if you want to work in KBC and they're not employing people, come talk to the manager and volunteer for a month or two. One day, someone will come out and say, we need a good cleaner for payment. And since they always see you doing voluntary work, believe you me, you are done. That's it. So put yourself in a position whereby you can be noticed. Not because of clothes and makeup, but because of your service to men.
Okay.
Then I think Prophet Jay's God now will come in. I don't know.
Let me give you the last one.
Thank you. Yes.
So very quickly, what would you tell young people, for those trying to venture into businesses?
Nitatia nguvu neno ila amesema. Amesema you have to have that iyo moyo, that passion.
Drive, yes.
You must have that passion. Hata kama unauza njuku au passion. Hata kama unauza vitambaa au hata kama wewe ni makanga, have passion.
Okay.
And God will honor your passion.
All right, well said, and a good place to end it. Asante sana, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
I have been speaking to Prophet Joshua Kioko, a pastor and founder of Good News Power Center, as well as Simon Masharia, who's a psychologist, a mental health advocate, all of them into businesses. And obviously, what has formed the center of our conversation is matters to do with entrepreneurship and where to start, particularly as someone who wants to venture into business. I'm Doreen Arange Okello. We still have plenty more after this breather. Stay with us.
Thank you.
As campaign intensifies for the upcoming general election, what does all this mean for you, the voter? What do the candidates have to offer? How prepared are agencies charged with the election process? Join John Kuria and Safina Chieng on Kenya Decides. This and every Tuesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 as we unpack elections 2022 with a panel of various stakeholders. Make informed electoral decisions.
We shall legalize weed.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party. Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party.
Unajua mimi sina pesa ya serikali ama ya kashfa.
David Mwaure Wahiga of the Agano Party. And
hakuna kura ya hasla mtaiba.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Presidential Debate 2022. Do not adjust your sets.
Generation inakuja ni sisi tunalidi nchi.
Justina Wangui wa Mae, Roots Party of Kenya.
Ukiitwa deputy itika.
Martha Wangari Karua, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party.
Tungetaka tuseme Wakenya wameamua.
Rigathi Gachagua, UDA.
We are coming to bring in change.
Ruth Wambui Musheru, Agano Party. Battle of the Deputies. The Deputy Presidential Debate live on the 19th July 2022, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Chepkoech, the fastest woman in the world, becomes the world champion here in Doha.
The World Athletics Championships is being hosted in Oregon, in the United States of America, for the first time ever from 15th to 24th of July 2022. An estimated 2,000 base track and field athletes representing more than 200 nations will come together in a celebration of diversity, human potential, and athletic achievement. Short races are not the only attractions. Marathon, magnificent throws.
Is it going to be long enough? Oh, it's a huge throw.
And outstanding jumps among other disciplines is expected as well. Although an immense task awaits them, our own Team Kenya is adequately represented by resolute athletes ready to liven up Hayward Field at the University of Oregon.
What a race! What heart! Oh my goodness me! So close!
Don't miss a single glorious moment, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Born to the founding president Mzee Jomo Kenyatta in Mama Ngina, the baby Uhuru Kenyatta grew loving a firm handshake quite literally. He was born in 1961 as the country prepared for independence, hence his first name Uhuru, meaning freedom in Kiswahili, that was suggested to his father by Mwai Kibaki, who became Kenya's third president. The young Kenyatta attended the prestigious St. Mary's School in Nairobi and then Amherst College in the United States, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree in politics and economics. The son of Jomo hesitantly embarked on his political career in 1997, a move many believe was set in motion by Mama Ngina with the approval of the then President Daniel Moi. He contested and won the Gatundu Kanu branch chairmanship. However, his plans and those of his mentor were stopped dead in their tracks when he was floored by Moses Moher, a hitherto little-known land valuer. Following his political defeat, he is said to have immersed himself in the expansive family business. But just when everyone thought they had had the last of him, President Moi set his giraffe sight on him. In 1999, President Moi appointed the young politician as the chairman of the Kenya Tourism Board. At the board, Uhuru would work with the likes of Nicholas Biwott, who was a feared political power broker in the Moi government. Then came October 2001, and President Moi nominated Uhuru to Parliament and then appointed him Minister for Local Government, a docket that would give the politician unlimited space to interact freely with people and local government leaders across the country. The following year, Uhuru was elected one of the 4 KANU national vice chairmen at controversial party elections held at Moi Sports Centre, Kasarani. Moi decided that Kenyatta was his preferred successor and influenced his nomination for the race to State House. In the 2002 general election, Uhuru would lose to opposition leader Mwai Kibaki but would serve as Gatundu South Member of Parliament and leader of official position, cabinet ministers without financial scandals. As Minister for Finance, Kenyatta spearheaded a number of reforms, including the creation of the Integrated Financial Management Information System, IFMIS, and a fund for inclusion of the informal sector in the mainstream economy. He is also famed for an unpopular move to conserve resources by denying state offices fuel-guzzling luxury limousines and 4x4 vehicles, downgrading these to the much cheaper but adequately comfortable Volkswagen Passat. In 2013, Uhuru would become a darling of the Mount Kenya region as they would embrace him to succeed retiring President Mwai Kibaki, whose 2 5-year terms were coming to an end. The charges brought by the ICC against Kenyatta were dropped on 13th March 2015. Nicknamed Moi's project by the media once Moi named him heir apparent in 2002 at the expense of Odinga and others. Kenyatta had his work cut out to shake off the notion that he was not his own man. This perception persisted right up to the time of the 2013 elections, when, flanked by running mate and ICC co-accused Ruto, he won the presidency, defeating Odinga among other contenders. He would win again in 2017 general election. On March 9, 2018, the man associated with Firm Handshake shook hands with opposition leader Raila Odinga, the man who would become his preferred successor in the 2022 general election.
Good morning. If you're tuning in, we are still running Good Morning Kenya right here on KBC Channel 1, and I'm Regina Manyara. Now, we have these terms and references, that is Mama Mboga, Wanjiku and such, references and terms that have been pegged on women or are about women. And despite being a majority of the population in as far as the census report of 2019 is concerned, women are still largely underrepresented at the seat at the table. And if you're not on the table, you are definitely on the menu. This morning, the conversation is about the women's priority agenda and how this is going to foster women inclusion going forward. Taking us through this conversation is none other than Caroline Nyekenywa, who is a researcher at the University of Nairobi under the Women Economic Empowerment Hub. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Regina.
Let's start off from this point that this is an all-ladies-led team this morning, and we are here. We are driving the conversation.
Just like they were driving the country.
Yes, just like we're driving the country. Yes. And being it is 20 days to the August polls, yes. From where you sit, and I know today being July 19th, all eyes are set on the deputy running mates debate. Yes. From a woman's perspective, you know, being and interacting with this data and the current affairs, are the times changing when it comes to leadership and governance, and are we likely to see more women taking up leadership roles?
I think we are I believe we've seen women, we are seeing women, and we've seen women for quite some time. It has been a patriarchal society that is, everyone knows, it's not been an easy journey for women in Kenya, but women are gradually taking up their space. And as you said, every eye is on TV today, is on radio today, everyone is watching. What's this woman offering? What are the women offering? What is the woman on Roots Party offering? What's the woman on the Maura Party offering? What is Mother offering at the end of the day? So it's an interesting time in the country. It's a game changer. It's a time, it's a history, it's a historical moment, because you can see the way tables have turned. We are no longer looking at the tribal factor. We are no longer looking at, the constitutional change. We don't want dictatorship. We don't want this. No, it's about something called gender. There's a woman. The talk is woman, woman, woman. And I do not believe it's something that has just sprouted from nowhere, that now we're going to look at the women in their kitenges and we're looking at mother in her long kitenges, or look at the other woman in whatever she's wearing. It's about what are these women carrying for the woman of Kenya. And when you carry it for the woman of Kenya, you are carrying it for every Kenyan. Remember, our mother is a second God. So as they always tell us, when a woman thinks about herself, as she's crossing the road, she's not crossing the road as herself. She's crossing the road as her husband, as her children, as the society. So you can imagine it's a no inclusive conversation. They are not there just to represent their interests. They are our mothers. So let's wait and see this journey that started many years ago from the many women that you've read in history that you cannot mention today. We've seen them. You've seen even the late Wangari Maathai. If we can even come back very few days forward, we then even going back to the days of Mekatri Monza and all that. We don't have even to go back that to history in the interest of time. But we know the woman journey has not been easy.
It hasn't been easy.
It's not.
But now
easy.
the tides, it's changing. The time is nigh. We're seeing women out here. But now let's take a back step from where you are and having interacted with this data and research. What would you prioritize in as far as, the hurdles that have perennially held back a woman from participating actively, especially in the matters of economics?
Okay, from where I sit and where I sit as a representative of women, I would call myself a representative of women, because today I'm here in a capacity of the Women Economic Empowerment Hub. This is a hub that is actually based at the University of Nairobi, Department of Sociology. It was initiated by originally there was African Women Studies Center, which is still there. It's a brainchild of the likes of Professor Wajiko Kabira and other many scholars and other researchers, women with interest in women empowerment. And this brainchild has grown and it has encompassed all the women in Kenya. And recently, this hub, which is working at a term of like 5 years or so, and to continue in the future, it's under funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And we've seen this Women Economic Empowerment Hub. It's comprised of women scholars, women researchers, Mama Mboga. It is not just everybody. You've called them Mama Mboga or whatever. Everybody knows there's a woman there at the grassroots. So, and recently we had a launch which was presided by Honorable Desai, that the PS Ministry of EAC, which was one of the partners of Women Economic Empowerment Hub. And this launch was done recently on 4th and 5th of this month, July. And prior to that, there was another meeting where there was the first thinking of the women to come up with a priority agenda. And at this point, the agenda was adopted on 4th and 5th of this month. And what did the women come up with? The women in Kenya have sat And we've said it comprises of women in business, women in the banking sector, women scholars, the mama mbogas, and they're looking at forming a women umbrella body called NAMBWI. NAMBWI stands for National Alliance Building, or
economic empowerment.
And you know it, Regina.
Yes.
Regina, maybe
yes, we have been covering that and just looking at, areas that women think need to be prioritized under the women priority agenda.
Yes.
The question, and one of the challenges that actually came out from these conversations with these women and the stakeholders was the issue of resources. Yes, we have policies that are geared towards supporting women and the youth. However, we lack the requisite data and research to identify these women. How will this women's priority agenda correct this?
This priority agenda, number one, as you said, you've been covering this journey of the women. It's based on evidence-based research. And you cannot come and claim this without statistics. And the Women Economic Empowerment Hub has been working even with the National Bureau of Statistics, among other stakeholders, the Treasury and other ministries have said, you've said the Ministry of Gender, Ministry of East African Community, and they've gathered enough data that is evidence, scientific data, not just any other data, that they can come and say, this is what hindering women from actively participating, this is what is hindering our women from growing, this is what is hindering our women from participating in elective politics or everything.
Madam Nyakinyo, from where you sit, because we already have this document.
Yes.
Just give us in a nutshell, what are the main areas that the women are still struggling with?
Yes, we have highlighted them and we've seen them. We have come up with at least 12 agenda points. That is what we've come up with, and that's what was adopted, and that is what we are looking into working with. And this agenda document is called Priority Agenda for Women's Economic Empowerment. And you can see investing in women for economic recovery and building back better. You can imagine where we've come from. We've come from a very hard time because of COVID. We are not yet out of there. And you can imagine the country is struggling. Everybody is talking about economic recovery. And we don't want women to be looked at as just needy, like people who just want economic stimulus package. They just want to be given these affirmative action funds. No, we want the women, and the women are also determined and have always been determined, were it not for the hindrances and barriers. They've always been desirous of participating and giving back to the economy so that there's some, and they also outgrow that mama boga stage. They also want to grow to another level so that another lot comes and it's given those stimulus packages, it's given that affirmative action plan. We want to have a process where they are graduating. And so you can see one of the main agenda number one is what we are calling participation of women in the economy and leadership positions. Wow. Once the women participate in the economy, not just being the caregivers at home, not just taking care of the family, that becomes inconsequential, that you've seen has given women a lot of challenges. And you can even see from the legal perspective, even the way it's become a challenge, even under the laws, you see, even the succession laws or matrimonial property laws, women are being told, account for what you've contributed.
But there's been quite a change, and we can look at what the High Court has been doing over the last few months or so. We have seen some, verdicts that have been made that have said, a woman actually being subjected to, house chores, housewife and such. That was actually a significant contribution to the matrimonial status, in terms of assets and such. I think we're making some
naturally, actually that has been the law, only that people have been ignoring it. Now they've been claiming you need to quantify, substantiate it, give it in a financial value.
Connotation.
We can't.
Now let's talk about, before we look at the other priority agendas, there's something you've talked about, the issue of affirmative funds. And from where we have seen different governments have come up with different policies that are geared towards empowering women. From where you sit, do you think the affirmative funds like the Wezo Fund, the Youth Fund and such, have they met their objective in elevating the woman?
We really appreciate these funds. We really do appreciate, but from our studies and the findings that we've covered that we cannot be able to take through the country through with a limited time, is that we have evidence that there are enough findings. We can tell they have the pros and they are the positives and negatives. We can tell, yes, true, we appreciate these funds and they have done some substantial good, but there's still some challenges and very big challenges because we can see mostly like this lack of awareness. Most people don't even know that there are such funds that are existing. Then there's secondly the issue of logistics, the procedures of accessing these funds. Number one is lack of information. Kenyans need to also be proactive, you know. Be proactive. Sometimes also let's walk to the chief's camp and even be listening at the chief balasas. What's going on in the country? What's there for me? What can I do? You know, instead of just sitting at the complaint table and you come at the elections time, you're like, this government has done nothing for us. It's good also to be informed. So all parties need to pray a lot. If it's the women, if it's the people, let's get to know what's happening in our country. Let's not be ignorant. And also the authorities, please also do your part. Inform the people. Don't just talk to the people when you need the votes. You know, don't come just during the election period. Just get every other opportunity to enlighten the society. Don't just come for the matangas and everything during elections time. That's when you want to be seen. But every other function, even at a wedding, enlighten people. Even call chief balasas like they used to happen a long time ago. I don't think nowadays we still have those enlightening balasas. We're still waiting to see. So lack of information, corruption, you see, most of these government officers have been said to be corrupt, that they're giving, there's some favors in giving this, and also for you to qualify. And then you see all these funds, sometimes they come with a requirement. They have a pegging, you know, you need to have your business formal. You know, not many women have their businesses formal. That's why we are calling them Mama Boga. I think maybe that's why they are called such titles. Yet they're putting food on their tables. But maybe we need them to have a formal. We need to make things easy for them as they formalize their businesses. We need to stop all these barriers, and also we need to have some maybe holiday gaps, some breaks. You know, they be given some grace period, some incentives. You know, they need to be considered, some affirmative actions. You know, even in taxes, you know, give them some grace period, make it easy for them to register their businesses. You see, like when they're accessing this AGPO thing, oh my God, the AGPO is there, but people cannot enjoy it. I think there's a lot to be done.
There's a lot to be done to actually
and we need proper registration that is quite clear, you know. We don't need to just, the money is there, but nobody is accounting. There are no guidelines on how the money should be issued. There are no guidelines on monitor. You know, there should be proper monitoring and evaluation. So I think there need to have a very good registrative structure on how these funds should be operated. Because maybe the initiators, the government or the head of state or whoever, may have the goodwill, but on the ground, things are not working.
The ground is different when it comes to affirmative funds. The issue of awareness, lack of awareness, or rather, you know, and also the logistics of accessing the funds. That's what I've heard, and also accountability and transparency in this issuance and disbursement of these funds.
Yes, and then that's why we are giving them database. You know, they should have some gender disencrypted data, you know, so that you can know how many women got the funds, how many youths got these funds, and what did they do? And as you said about the graduation process, is it serving any purpose, or is just a cycle, money being thrown, billions being talked about, but at the end of the day,
it's not trickling to their target.
Yes, and you can see there are so many challenges. Again, when people are given these affirmative funds, they're not doing them, they're not using them for the right purpose, because the people are still needy. You see, instead of paying the loans that you've taken from somewhere, you again taking this food to pay food. You know, the cycle continues. You know, it becomes like a cycle of poverty. So I think we need a more structured way of doing things.
Yes, more structured way of doing affirmative loans. From also your data, I would want to know, right now we have been talking about, you know, recovery from post-COVID, actually building back better.
Yes,
that is what we have adopted, and I see it has also been adopted in the women's priority agenda. Where have women invested in the last 2-3 years? Talking about 2019, 2020, 2021.
Yeah, there's quite some study done even by the UN Women, especially on how the stimulus package is working. But we find that due to these limiting factors, they still have to be the caregivers at home. We see that women are still limited, and they're still getting the grass cutting opportunities. So we can see that women have not invested so much because of the many needs. You understand? And then, as you said, they are not able, even if it's something like it's on loan, not a grant, women are not able to access big loans, you see, because they do not have the right security, the right collateral, you see. So they just get minimal money as a group. You see, maybe they're given 100K as a group. this 100,000 has to be divided among the women, and at the end of the day, they can't invest much. That's why they're sorry to say they're still remaining mama mboga, because it's that cycle, clothes business, mitumba business, all that. But women are trying, women are really trying, they're growing their small businesses from kiosks to everything, but we need to see women being utilized at a larger scale.
And how do we get that? And how will this women's priority agenda actually help in achieving this?
Yeah, this women priority agenda also has its strategies. The women also came up with strategies. How do we achieve what we've dreamt of? You know, we've talked about access to action funds, access to financing, formalization of women businesses, access to childcare and women's work economy, and women and employment, women and labor laws. We have seen how we intend to work with is by working with the different stakeholders. You see, these women, as NAMBWI all, as women in economic empowerment, you see, we've said it's a combination of women from all over Kenya, and we want even to touch it at an African, at a continental level, even beyond. How do we want to achieve this? We shall work with stakeholders. We shall ensure that we push for policies. We push for accountability, and we shall also talk more, try to liaise more with, if it's banks, these banks that are working with the CGS, the credit guarantee schemes, or the Wealth funds. How do we partner with the banking institutions so that they could be coming, talk to the women, enlighten them on the packages they have for them, what can work for them, so that they grow their businesses, so that they can journey together. We've seen testimonies of women saying how they've journeyed with certain banks and they've seen where they are going. So let's have success stories being told. Let's have accountability. Let's be the eyes on accountability. And let's also make sure that women participate, especially in legislation. You see, most women or most people don't know about their right to participate in legislative work. You see, like when bills are coming up, even at the county level, let's enlighten people, especially women, on their role, even in the budget making process. If they are not involved from the onset, they cannot come in the middle. They find things have gone too far. So it's good that, like now the government, it is a new government that's about to start. Be on the lookout. Know when is the strategic plan being made by the county government. Know when the national government is doing this. You have to journey. You as the women leaders, you as the leaders, even at county level, whether you are men or women, please hold the women's hand, hold the other people's hands. Let's work together, enlighten them, keep them in the know, because you can see there are some reports on some counties or some places where you can tell there's some genuine good faith. They've worked with these people and they're aware when things are happening. So don't call public participation when women are busy in their church service. You know, short notices, the woman has nothing to do, she cannot leave the child and go do public participation. Let's be fair, let's be, as we've said, there should be political goodwill from everybody, so that this journey we have to walk it together. Yes, because even if women are not involved in gender budgeting, these budgets, in budgeting, the budgets will not be gender sensitive, they will not be gender inclusive. You know, the women, things that concern women like agriculture, health. We've seen this NHIF. How many women do know about the special contributions? How many people know about the indigent category that has come up in the new regulations? Let people know what is changing in the law. That's your role as the leader. You know, and we can say that's why women scholars, women leaders are trying to do their part. So let the political class also work hand in hand with the rest. Let also private organizations, there are some which are actively working with with everyone else. Let us stakeholders be involved. I think that it has to be a journey of working with other people.
Networking and consolidation of not only funds but also ideas.
Yes.
From national government all the way to the county government.
True.
And also inclusion of the private sector.
Very true.
Now let's look at, since this is an outfit, NAMBWI aims at not just looking at Kenya, and it's also looking at expanding to the region, across the region.
Yes.
So where do the opportunities lie, especially now with the entry of DRC Congo, bringing around 90 mil people in as far as the market is concerned?
Yes.
How can NAMBWI, this umbrella body that is on under the women's priority agenda, be able to tap into that market?
Yes, how it will be able to tap into the market is the way you've seen they're working with different ministries, so that they're in the know. When they work with the EAC, like you've seen, we've said this thing was launched by the EAC, that's Honorable Desai. How the NAMBWI will work is that they'll know what are the interest areas of the women, because they're creating space. There'll be conversations happening every other time. It was not a one-off game. We shall be having meetings and meetings, communications trickling down. You know, we have the women leadership at different grassroots levels, working with our partner organizations like Crown Trust, CCGD, or groups, all the women, all the civil society, and all the social networking that we need. What we need to do is to create space, create enlightenment. You've seen there are women in mining, even women in some, they're serious, there are women in mining, but they don't know how to access. You've talked about women in cross-border trade. Before then, they've been complaining they've been looked at as smugglers because they're just walking across the border. But now they have to know about the commerce agreements, what can they, yes, common market, there's even participation. Like now the PS talked of the review of the common market protocol. They start the common market protocol. How can women contribute? That's where the women in rehab, as the researchers, as the scholars, you'll be able to help and listen to the voices of the women on the ground and be able to interpret it as a contribution when policies are being made, when such changes are being made, so that their voices will be heard, so that things will just be happening, not every time complaining, but at least participate actively so that your things are well documented, you're in the legislation, and people know what is your issue, because that has been the challenge.
Good. Taking advantage of, the expanded regional bloc, with the DRC coming to place. We're even seeing corporates heading there. Now let's come back home, and we have already begun this conversation by saying, even when you talk about a budget, we talk about the Wanjiku budget. When you're talking about Mama Mboga, right now the prices of unga via government directive are to come down to 100 shillings. We're talking about Mama Mboga. How then does research and data, push women who are already in these small businesses to formalize the businesses so that they can access at least these affirmative funds?
Research and data helps to know why women are not enjoying it. You see, the research and data is not just for records. It's helping to know what are the challenges. You see, these findings will be able to make the policy implications. We realize, okay, this is the challenge. Then this is the policy implication. This is where we need to come in, and then we make a policy recommendation, and then there's be a strategy.
Now, in the findings, because we have had even National Treasury come out and say that we need to expand the tax base so that we can have more taxpayers, chipping in. But then we are seeing within this Juakali, there is Mama Mboga therein, and they have always been they've never formalized their businesses, so to speak. From your findings, why aren't women who are in these small businesses actually focused or keen on formalizing their businesses?
They would wish to, but you say the challenges, the requirements are quite challenging.
They are very,
the registration process is quite rigorous, and it's quite technical. You see, there's so much legal work involved. They do not know where to start. They do not have the resources. So they shy away from formalizing because the requirements are just too much. So I think that's why we're saying they need to be a bit of the government. There's need for them to formalize, because that's the only way they can enjoy the benefits, because also there's need for monitoring and evaluation. Again, the government will not give funds to people they do not know, who are not in a documented way, at least something tangible. You need to have a formal business for it to be. How do we track you down even if you don't pay the funds? How do we monitor whether you're doing well? How do we train you? You understand? At least when you are registered or in a group, you can be accessed for some trainings, for some capacity building, but when you're on your own, it's hard. So it's still good to also make them to come up in collective bargaining. They need collective bargaining, They need to be enlightened on how to come up together so that they're able to access these things, even if it's coming to be trained on how to register their businesses. No, it's not economically viable to walk into each and every household and tell a woman, this is how you need to register your business. But you see, if it's in a chama or in those women groups, you're able to give them talks. At least even an NGO or a private sector can sponsor and have these women given talks, and they'll know that, it's not even that challenging to register the business, and they'll be able to invest.
Now, Madam Nyakinyo, you've said that this is an umbrella body, that is NABWI, that is working on having women inclusion, women seated at the policy making table to influence policies that are targeted at women.
Yes.
Is it open for each? Can I be a member? Is it open for everybody?
Yes.
Or what are the requirements to actually be a member of NAMBWI?
Actually, there's no requirement for membership of NAMBWI. NAMBWI is trying to reach every woman in Kenya. It's an open thing, and what it's done at the onset is that it's reached with the women that they've been working with. They've been working with women in business. They've been working with women in the grassroots. They've been working with those women in cross-border trading and all that. They've reached, like now when we had this meeting, I believe they were there. You saw there was some women who came all the way from Turkana. They have traveled for hours to come for the NAMBWI meeting. So you can tell how inclusive it is. It's any woman. You'll come and walk in and tell us, I'm in business. I need to come for your meetings. You say, okay, maybe sometimes even the holding crowds may not be enough for the meetings, but at least you can be on the mailing list, you can be on the records, you can know what is happening. Yes, there's no limitation.
So this is an umbrella body that aims at,
reaching the woman of Kenya. Yes, reaching the woman of Kenya. And holistically bringing them to be able to bargain, not just come up with talks, bring it up so that these policies, we've even been even initially before NAMBWI came in place, the African Women's Studies has been working. They've come up with bills, like the food security bill was a brainchild of the African Women's Studies Center. It's something we are still we have been pushing for it from 2014. We're still fighting, and we still hope that the food security bill is going to be passed, because once the food security bill is passed, it has a lot to do with a woman. You see, when there's food on the table, the woman can be able to be more active and participate.
Yes, because we are expected to be women are considered nurturers,
caregivers, everything.
Caregivers, yes.
But not everything.
But not everything.
We are waiting to see this time whether we are going to be everything.
Indeed. As we said, we are going to be on the table, so that
not on the menu.
Not on the menu.
No more.
Indeed. Now, we are in the political season, and I'd want to hear from you.
Yes.
What are your expectations ahead of the August 9th polls in regard to women and their participation in matters of leadership and governance?
My expectation is that it's been an interesting time. It's been a women factor, and it quite really escalated after the nomination of the Deputy President Mother. Once Mother Karua came on board, the conversation just changed, because it was a woman who is not politically, it was not just a running mate to be seen that, okay, we have a gender-sensitive team. But no, there was Mother, and she's known in the whole country. So the conversation changed, and people are like, oh, it won't make an impact. There's that division. Will it make an impact? Will it not? Women are their own enemies. Those stereotypes, they won't even vote. Nothing much,
Women have never voted for a fellow woman.
Yes.
There was those stereotypes.
Yet they are forgetting that women, even to go and participate as political candidates, it's a challenge, because they have those barriers. They don't have the resources. Election period is so competitive. The campaigns need a lot of money. Do women have this money? No. Women need permission from their spouses, from their families, from the community. You look so aggressive. You look that Iron Lady they are calling people. That title they're branding people, because a woman's place is not that, according to the society.
It is not defined.
Yes, it's not that. Yeah, it should not be that. You should not be there. You should not be telling us what to do. You should not be giving us policy. But it's not in an aggressive way. It's just because they're there. They also have a voice. They're not fighting. They're not demeaning the men. They're just being.
Now, talking about the men, there's someone who's questioned about the issue now that so much has been said when it comes to affirmative action has favored women over time. And that is a high time that the boy child was included. Actually, from this particular comment is that they're feeling that now the boy child has been somewhat forgotten.
Yes.
What does data have to say about that?
I've had that even in my own home village. Recently, I was asked, you're a gender advocacy consultant, please remember the boy child in your village. And people say the boy child has been forgotten. Has the boy child been forgotten? I think that question should be answered by the men folk.
Good question. Please say it again. I think because it is the men to actually answer if the boy child has been forgotten.
Yes, they should be telling us why the boy child seems to have been forgotten, because we are talking as women. We don't want to leave out the boys, we don't want to leave us the girls, but we found ourselves women, so that's why we are calling it Women Economic Empowerment Hub. We're looking at the girl child, we're looking at violence against women, we're looking at early marriages, we're looking at all those girls dropouts, early pregnancies. How do we handle teenage girls? How do we make them still participate in this? How do we make them go back to school? So the boy child, we love them, and they're in the youth fund, and we try to incorporate them where we can. But I think the boy child, the leaving out of the boy child, that question next time will be answered by the male folk.
Awesome. And we're going to bring this conversation to a close at this point. My guest has been none other than Caroline Nyakenyo, who's a researcher at the University of Nairobi under the Women Economic Empowerment Hub, that is WeHub.
Yes.
And the challenge to you and I, if you're watching and you're a woman, is that you do not need anything to actually be part of this conversation. That is a women priority agenda under the umbrella body NABWI. You can get further details on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. I'm Regina Manyara. I wish you a pleasant viewing ahead.
Goodbye.
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
Generation inakuja ni sisi tunalidi nchi.
Justina Wangui wa Mae, Roots Party of Kenya.
Ukiitwa deputy itika.
Martha Wangari Karua, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party.
Tungetaka tuseme Wakenya wameamua.
Rigathi Gachagua, UDA.
We are coming to bring in change.